Good afternoon, everybody, and we are here to talk about building relationships, and really significant relationships through networking. And for me, I guess I'd always been a networker, just as Suzanne had shared that, living in different parts of the world. I lived in Kwajalein for 3.5 years. I went to college. I lived in Boston for 4 years. So I have friends all over the world as a result of that. But most of my business life, I was in corporate America, and networking was not part of my business. My business was in sales, but my clients and my accounts were set for me. I was a pharmaceutical rep, and I called on the doctors, so it wasn't about networking with them, but it was about building relationships with them. So I became very skilled at building those relationships. Once I went into my own business, it was another story altogether. Because how do people discover you? We have this wonderful image that, if I put up a website, they'll find me. Not. We think, if I'm on social media, they'll find me. Not necessarily. They're not looking for you if they don't know you exist. So after I wrote my first book, I was like, I belonged to a women's networking group. And I said, networking is really cool, because this particular group did masterminds, and it was all about growth and development of your business, of your personal development. And I thought networking was pretty cool. So one of the women in my group told me about another networking group. So I went to that networking group. And I went to many networking groups, because where I live, women's networking and regular networking. You could network breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day of the week, get very fat, and really start building relationships. So it's really all about how you're connecting with people. When you go to a networking meeting, you're not going to sell something. You're not going to walk up to somebody and say, buy my stuff. You're there to discover who they are. That is the myth of networking, is that you're going there for business. You may ultimately get business, but you have to build that relationship. The relationship that Suzanne mentioned was the know, like, and trust. How do people get to know you? How do you get to know them? I know you had asked a question about the introvert. Actually, in some ways, I think an introvert has advantages to the extrovert.
I agree.
Because the extrovert will come up to you and say, hi, I'm so-and-so, and this is what I do, and blah, 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 and they keep on talking, right? The introvert just has to get the extrovert to start talking about themselves. And because an introvert is a great listener, they actually learn more about the person they're talking to than the extrovert does when they're talking to somebody. So for an extrovert, it's a little bit more difficult. They have to learn to use their 2 ears and ask the questions, and then just sit back and listen to what the person is saying. So what do you want to know about the person? You want to know about who they are, what excites them, what they love about their business, why they're in their business, what things they're looking for to make things easier for them. And when you discover those things, you may not be the resource that they're looking for, but you may know the resource they're looking for. And becoming a partner with them in their business, becoming a resource that they know, like, and trust, to connect them to the people they need, ultimately will lead you to business. Now, I've been networking now, really, almost full-time for the past 5 years. And where my networking has taken me, on the most incredible journeys that I can even imagine. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for networking. I stand here before you and I'll walk you back through the network. I was part of Women's Prosperity Network in Florida. Women's Prosperity Network in Florida, one of the founders, became one of the thought leaders for the first Awakening Giants trip. Invited me to join that Awakening Giants trip in San Diego, where I met Robin and Sprite and a lot of other people, and really connected with people around the world. Since then, I am actually working with a woman who I met through one of the Awakening Giants in London. I went to an event in London last year, connected with a woman there who is now building my ClickFunnels. It's about building those relationships. Through that relationship, when Sprite and Robin put out the email that this was happening, World Economic Forum in Madurai, India, I didn't stop for 2 seconds. I said yes as soon as I read the email. I didn't even know what I was doing. But it's because I know that my message is something that needs to be delivered worldwide. Networking has been so good to me. Literally, everything good that has happened to me has happened because of the network that I've built. I live by a philosophy called the One Philosophy, which is written by one of the co-founders of Women's Prosperity Network. And what the One Philosophy is about treating everyone. Not the one that you think is going to help you, or the one that's going to be the one and get you the business that you're looking for, but everyone you meet as if they were that person. And that includes the waitress, the person behind the cash register, where everybody's walking through with their cell phone, ignoring that there's a human being serving them. They need to be acknowledged, and smiling at them and saying hello and acknowledging that they're there, telling them they have a nice smile. You don't know how you've changed somebody's day, and they'll remember you the next time you come into the store. And that's also part of your network. The success I've had in networking actually led me to write a book, which is truly, I think, appropriate for those who love it and hate it. It's Love, Hate Networking. And it's a simple book with a lot of skill sets that anyone can use to be an effective networker. And it's really about mixing web with warm, that face-to-face with the follow-up and the connections, keeping those connections alive. I know people who have met somebody at a networking event, kept in contact with them for years, and then years later they do a $500,000 business. So you never know who is going to connect you to whom, and just being genuine and real and touching people and allowing them to touch you in ways that you could never even imagine. I could never have survived the loss of my husband without the network that I have behind me. I lost my husband 2.5 years ago, and my life has never stopped. I have had more amazing adventures since that time because of the network that I built. And building those solid relationships, I think the thing that surprised me the most about networking was that I developed genuine friendships, deep, loving, caring friendships, people that you can count on, and allowing them to love on you as you love on them, because networking is a two-way street. And I want to thank everybody for the opportunity to speak to you. Thank you. Anyone have any questions?
Any questions?
No questions, I must say. I guess I said everything that needed to be said.